and welcome to CJTV. Today we have with us the Director of Caricom and Caribbean Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Caricom Affairs, Ms. Ayesha Wharton. Ms. Wharton, thank you for joining us on CJTV.
Thank you so much for having us here at the Ministry of Foreign and Caricom Affairs.
Excellent. So I know that a bill was passed on June 3rd that's going to affect so many of our viewers here that's looking on at us. It's the Immigration Caribbean Community Skilled National Amendments Bill. Did I get everything there? Get everything in there?
It is a mouthful.
That's a mouthful of a bill. So tell us about the importance of, provide some background on the bill and tell us the significance of this bill.
This is the culmination of many years of work. The first Immigration Caribbean Community Skilled Nationals Amendment Bill was passed in 1996, and amendments have been done since then in 2001, 2003, 2005, and the latest amendment in 2022. So this represents the latest step within the regional integration movement, and it gives birth to the free movement regime under the CSM, Caricom, Single Market and Economy. By way of background, the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas established free movement regime under Articles 45 and 46 for 5 categories of workers, specifically university graduates, media workers, sportsmen and women, artists and musicians. And this particular bill that was passed in the lower house on Friday expands that category, those categories, from 5 to 10. Barbers and beauty service practitioners under the category of artistes, non-graduate nurses, non-graduate teachers, holders of an associate's degree, household domestics, and artisans with a Caribbean vocational qualification, CVQ.
What defines a skilled worker? Because for a lot of people, they're thinking, well, I'm skilled. I've been a barber for 20 years. And just having that experience, does that mean that I have access to the certificate as well?
So the definition that each category comes under is actually made and agreed to by CARICOM heads of government. So it is not up to an individual, and it's not up to Trinidad and Tobago. It is not up to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It is up to an agreement under the CARICOM regime of CSME. And heads meet on a regular basis, and they've agreed to what a definition for each category must be.
Do I have to have a certificate? Do I have to have some sort of license that says I'm a barber? Do I have to have, if I'm a beautician, do I have to have something that says I'm a certificate that says I'm a makeup artist? Or can I have that experience for 20 years and decide I want to apply for this certificate?
So in order to have the right to work in another CARICOM country, member state, you need to have the certificate. You can obviously have the experience in Trinidad and Tobago, but let's say you want to be able to go to Guyana or to St. Vincent or to Jamaica. You want to be able to set up legitimate business or to be employed in those countries. In order to do that, you need to get the certificate.
Who are the participating countries? Because you said not all countries are signed on. So who are the participating countries that are signed on to this bill?
Right, we have 15 member states in CARICOM, but only 12 member states have signed on for free movement under CSME. So those 12 are Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, St. Kitts, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, and Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, so tell me the process. How do I go about getting a certificate?
Wonderful. So we at the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, the CSME unit, is the processing unit by which you can apply. All you need to do is go to our website and get the application form and get the photo. Now, it is very important that the photo meets the requirements stated on the website. It is not the normal passport photo. We have very specific requirements. You get your valid passport, birth certificate, police certificate of character, relevant qualifications. University graduates, for example, would need their degree, and a statement of recognition from the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago.
And you mentioned that, it's just been passed and there's another step to this. Can you explain what the other step is and when can we expect it?
So the next step in this process, it was first passed in the Senate and then in the lower house. The next step is for the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago to proclaim it. And we're not sure when exactly that will happen, but it is up to the schedule of the President.
Okay, great. So in terms of the number of persons you've seen actually access this certificate, how many persons have accessed, and do you anticipate even more persons accessing now that the new categories have been included?
Yes, we do. So since 2002, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's since 2002 to 2022, we've seen over 3,000 Trinidad and Tobago nationals apply and receive skilled certificates for use all over the region.
And so I know we were talking a little bit before about the brain drain and persons, leaving Trinidad and Tobago. We've seen it over the years. Persons would have gone away to college, university, and never to return, right? And now this gives skilled workers the opportunity to go to other Caribbean countries. How do you think this is going to really impact Trinidad and Tobago and the region?
I would say it's very interesting that whilst we've seen 3,000 Trinidad and Tobago nationals apply for the skilled certificate, we've seen approximately 2,000 non-Trinidad and Tobago nationals apply. So I think it enhances the opportunities for Trinidad and Tobago nationals all over the region. We have to remember that we are establishing, that is the Caribbean community, Caricom, we are establishing a single market and economy. And that means that we are encouraging not just the free movement, which is one of the main pillars of the CSME. We're encouraging the harmonization of all our economies. So that gives rise to businesses, it gives rise to right to work, right to live, and all of these are pillars that fall under the CSME. So one of the main benefits to this current legislation is that it opens up more doors for Trinidad and Tobago nationals who are seeking opportunities all over the region. It also allows business owners here in Trinidad and Tobago to access a wider pool of labor from all over the region. That is why we can see as much as 2,000 non-Trinidad and Tobago nationals applying for the skills and being processed here in Trinidad and Tobago. And therefore, it answers the call of local and regional, the local and regional private sector for full and uninhibited movement of workers, which gives them, as I said, larger access to a greater pool of labor. Once it is proclaimed, we are expecting not only a greater influx of applicants from within the region, we are expecting our diaspora to want to access these jobs as well.
So it doesn't just benefit Trinidad and Tobago, right? This benefits Caricom countries across the region. So it's not just about access to TT nationals having access, it's about having access across the region. So Jamaica to Barbados, Barbados to Guyana, it's really the entire Caribbean region that's involved here. But I just want to go back a little bit to speak to you about, you mentioned just Caricom national. So if I'm a US citizen wanting to access and wanting to come to work in the Caribbean, because we get these questions all the time, right? People want to come and, have fun in the sun too and work and so. And so we get these questions on CaribbeanJobs.com all the time. How can I work in the Caribbean? Can they have access to the certificate as well?
Okay, so the Caribbean, the skills certificate under the CSME, Caricom Single Market and Economy, is really for Caribbean nationals, for Caricom member states who are part of the CSME enacting free movement. Non-Caribbean nationals would need to get a work permit to work in any territory within the Caribbean.
I remember you made mention of persons being able to access the certificate in any island. So if I'm a TT national and I'm in Jamaica and I hear about this and I want to have access, I can go to whatever the official body in Jamaica that's there and apply, yes? So can you walk me through that?
Definitely. So in Trinidad and Tobago, the Minister of Foreign and Caricom Affairs is what we call the competent authority by which these skills certificates are processed and given out. So we receive applications here. The CSME unit receives and processes these applications, and the minister himself signs the skills certificate. In each territory, they would have appointed their competent authority. So you can go to we will give you access to the handbook, the CSME handbook, that identifies in each territory who the competent authority is.
Do you feel there are any negative ramifications from having this free access?
In terms of things that I may see as not beneficial, I really don't see this as not benefiting the entire region and not benefiting Trinidad and Tobago, simply because we are ensuring that Trinidad and Tobago will actually collect revenue. Prior to this, we were not collecting revenue for this service. So people could apply and have applied and not paid. Once this bill is proclaimed by the president, there will be a fee. And that will be down to the benefit of everyone, because that would ensure that the service is enhanced, it's smoother, and it's faster. And it gives us more access to revenue for the government.
So what's the cost that we're going to have to incur coming up?
The fees, once the bill has been proclaimed, the application fee for a certificate would be 750 Trinidad and Tobago dollars. The renewal of a certificate would be 400 Trinidad and Tobago dollars. And if you need to replace a certificate that is lost or stolen or mutilated, that would be $1,000. We're also in the process of digitizing the entire application system, and that will also lead to wider access. It's easier, you can apply online, so we are expecting a greater influx of applications once that is on stream.
Once a person gets into the country, so say if somebody comes into TT, do we have any way of kind of tracking them to see what they're doing and how they're progressing? That's one part of the question. The other part of the question is, if I decide that I want to move from one category to the other, I came in here as a barber, let's say, and I decide I want to move to a different category, how easy is that to do? Is that possible? What is the process that I would have to go through?
Wonderful. So I will start with that last question. So first, you can apply. It is quite simple, and you would have to apply. So if you come in and you've applied and you've gotten your skill certificate as a barber, you're not entitled to then work on that skill certificate as a university graduate. You need to apply and replace your skill certificate. And the application process is quite simple. It's similar to what we've just described with the application form, and we'll put the website with all of the instructions up for you. In terms of tracking nationals who've come in, once a foreign national comes in on a skills certificate, there's a verification process. So they have to apply, they would have been processed by the immigration authorities at their port of entry, and the verification process is done with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that checks the member states to go back to see whether this is a qualified national and actual skill certificate issued by the right competent authority once the national comes into Trinidad and Tobago. There is also a monitoring mechanism at the point of entry, and that national with that verification process gets a definite or an indefinite stamp, stay stamp in their passport. So let's say a national comes in. They are granted a definite stay or an indefinite stay, depending on whether they've completed that verification process. Indefinite stay would be granted once the qualifications, the skill certificate has been verified.
What if I come in as a barber and decide I no longer want to work as a barber? I don't want to work at all. Am I allowed to then stay in the country, or do I now have to go back to TT or back to Jamaica, back to Guyana?
So this is now coming into what we would call the competent authority immigration. And the bill speaks to that. The competent authority monitors and has responsibility for ensuring that nationals who come in, one, are compliant with the requirements of the bill, and two, are not overstaying without meeting the requirements, the law of Trinidad and Tobago in terms of immigration. So that is a question really that will fall under the immigration authority, the immigration division, immigration officers, to determine what the process is for nationals who wish to just stay and not work. You would have to apply. You'd have to apply for residency. You'd have to apply for the legal requirements to live without the skill certificate.
So I want to thank you so much for your time and for, sharing that information with us. It was very informative, and we look forward to the bill, as it progresses. We hope that you'll come back and give us some more information as time moves on and things progress. So again, on behalf of CJTV, we want to thank you for your time, and we wish you guys all the best.
Well, thank you so much for having us, and we want to welcome CJTV and welcome all of your viewers. We anticipate quite a number of you may be excited and wanting to access the skills certificate. Our officers here are eager to meet with you and to advise you as to how you can do this. So thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.